Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Welcome to my channel. So I hope everyone is ready for Christmas. I know I'm not. Anyway, I wanted to come on here today to share with you guys these little mini spinach turnovers. They're basically little pockets filled with spinach. We call them Fatayer Spinach in Lebanon. And they smell so yummy and they taste so good, you guys. I was not big fan of spinach growing up. I actually didn't like it at all. Whenever my mom cooked spinach, I would be like pretending I was sick. But during the war, we went and we stayed with my late aunt Rosie, and she lived in the mountain and she didn't have much, so she wanted to feed us, and she made a lot of these. So I helped her a lot in the kitchen, and I didn't have the heart to tell her that I didn't like spinach, but I ended up loving it. So this is for her. I make this all the time. It's one of my favorite pies, and yeah, I wanted to come and share with you guys. So if you want to see how I make these, please keep on watching. Okay, so 2 parts of this recipe. The dough part, I have 2 cups of all-purpose and 2 cups of whole wheat. You can do the whole thing with all-purpose flour. So 4 cups. I have 1 tablespoon of instant dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and that helps activate the dry yeast. You're gonna need about a teaspoon of salt. I have half a cup of oil, and this is sunflower oil. You can use canola oil, you can use vegetable oil, any oil that doesn't have a heavy smell. And you're gonna need roughly about a cup and a half of water, warm water. It depends on your altitude and the flour type you're using. You might need a little less or a little more. So that's the flour part. It's really simple, and this is totally vegan, so there is no butter, no egg, nothing in the dough. For the filling, you're gonna need spinach, and I have fresh spinach here, but you can use frozen spinach. You just have to thaw it out. You're gonna need fresh lemon juice and onions. Again, you can use bottled lemon juice. I just have so many lemons, so I use fresh. You're gonna need paprika, some salt, black pepper. We're gonna need some olive oil to marinate the spinach, and the main ingredient is sumac, and this is available in all your international sections of your supermarket. We use this a lot. It's kind of like burgundy, and it tastes sour. So that's all for the ingredients. So we're gonna make the dough first, and then we'll work on the filling. Okay, in the bowl of your mixer with the mixing attachment, we're gonna add our yeast and sugar, and I'm gonna add about 1/4 cup of water. And just give that a mix for 1 second. And a spatula. I'm gonna add my flour gradually. While this is on, so I'm gonna add my oil, and I want my oil to coat all the flour. This will make a crispy dough. So before you add any more water, just add your oil. I'm going to add my salt, about a teaspoon. Just eyeball it. Okay, I want to show you. It's like little crumbs. And that's what you want. You want all the oil to coat all the flour, and that will make it, that will give you a nice crispy dough. So I'm gonna put this back, lock it, and put this on low, and while it's going, I'm gonna add my water slowly. And as I said, depending on your flour and on the temperature, altitude, you might need more or less. So just add it slowly until you see a soft dough has formed. So I still have a quarter of a cup, so I'm gonna go slowly. So I still see some flour at the bottom. Oh, I'll lock this in. Okay, I don't think I locked my machine. Okay. Okay, so I think I have enough water, so I was left with like probably less than a tablespoon. Put this on fire just to mix everything. Okay, so I'm gonna take my mixing attachment out and put in my dough hook attachment. I like doing that with all my doughs because then I assure that it has everything has mixed. Okay. And I'm gonna let this knead for about 5 minutes and then I'll be back. My dough is ready. I just put a little bit of oil in my bowl and just spread it around. Take my dough and look at that. Comes off and such a nice dough. So you know your dough is nice when you go like that and it bounces back. So I'm gonna cover it and let this sit in a warm place for about an hour, hour and a half, or until it doubles in size. And then in the meantime, I'll work on my filling. So the first thing we're gonna do for the filling, I chopped up my 2 large onions, and I have a bowl here and a colander. So I'm gonna chop my spinach, and I'm gonna put it in a colander because we're gonna squeeze all the juices out. And these are pre-washed, so I don't have to worry about washing them. Yeah, it says 4 times washed. And I like to get the baby spinach so that I don't have to worry about the stems. So all I do is just roughly chop them. You can just leave them like that if you want, because they're small. And I'm just gonna dump it in my colander. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop these, and then I'll be back to show you what's next. Okay, so I just finished chopping all my spinach. It's in a colander, and I used up 2 bags of 454 gram because once I put salt and squeeze the juice, you'll end up with nothing. So you can cut the recipe in half if you want, but I have my 2 bags and I just roughly chopped it. So now what I'm gonna do, and I do have a bowl underneath, I'm gonna take my onion and put it right on top, because both the spinach and the onion will release water. So I have all this here. So I'm gonna take my salt and I'm gonna sprinkle salt on top, and about a tablespoon, and I'm gonna just kind of like knead it with your hands, just to get some of the salt into both the spinach and the onions. So I'm just squeezing it. And I chopped my onion with my blender, with my food processor, because I did not want to cry today. I'm gonna add a little more salt to the bottom here, and a little more there. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave this on the side for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and the salt will do its work, and then we'll squeeze all the juice. Okay, so as you can see, already there is lots of juice down here. The salt has been working on the spinach and the onion. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take handfuls of it, squeeze it, get as much water out of it as I can. you want to get as much water out because you don't want your dough to get soggy. And as you can see, you'll end up with very little. So I'm gonna put it in my dish. So I'm gonna do this for this whole thing. Okay, so I just finished squeezing all my spinach and look how much water I got out. So you're gonna discard that. And here is all the spinach, and this is what I told you. You will end up with very little out of those 2 big bags. So my spinach is all wilted and it's pretty dry. I squeeze as much as I can. So I'm gonna add my seasoning. I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm just eyeballing it because I eyeballed everything all my life. About a teaspoon. And paprika, again same thing, about a teaspoon. Because I put salt to squeeze the juices, I'm not gonna add any salt right now. I will taste it later and adjust the salt. I'm gonna take my sumac and I'm gonna put a big heaping tablespoon, and that will give a nice flavor. I'm gonna put about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then again, I'll adjust because it has to be little lemony. And finally, I'm gonna take some olive oil, about 1/3 of a cup. And I'm just gonna add that in there. Okay. I'm gonna mix this. And then I'll give it a taste to see. And my cats are fighting, play fighting. Never a dull moment in this house. Okay. So I mix that well. I'm gonna taste for salt and lemon. And how much lemon you put, it's preference. Perfect. I'm not adding any more salt, and I'm not gonna add any more lemon, so this is perfect. So we're gonna go get our dough that's risen already, and we'll go from there. Okay, so my dough is risen. It's double its size. And I prepared 2 trays with wax paper. So I'm gonna take some flour, put it on my board. And plump that up. And I forgot my knife. Okay, so you can do 2 things. You can cut your dough in 4 pieces and roll out a whole big circle and go around and cut it with a cup or cookie cutter. I don't like doing that. I don't have time to sit and gather dough afterwards and put it back together, and I just cut it into slices like that. And I just cut pieces that big. That's even too big. Like that, because I want it to be appetizer size. So I just cut pieces like that, and I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be all the same size, roughly. So now what I do is I take my tray, and I know I have wax paper, but I still sprinkle it with a little bit of flour, not much. I take my dough and I just fold it on each other like that to make a little pouch, like a ball, and I just go around and just shape it into like a ball and put it in my tray. So again, just fold it on each other, go around, make it into a ball, and place them about an inch apart, because once they rest, they will rise a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and all my dough has been resting, and as you can see, it's been 10 minutes. You can leave it longer if you want. It's better when you want to roll it. So all I do is just like that, put it in, just dip it in flour. I have my baking sheet lined with a parchment paper, and my oven is on at 375. My filling is nearby, and I have a little bowl of water to help me when I'm gonna seal the edges together. So with your rolling pin, you're gonna roll a circle about 1/4 inch thickness you want. Something like that, and that's how big it is. So we're gonna take a tablespoon of our filling, put it in the middle, dip your finger in water just a little bit, and just go around the dough like that. We're gonna bring these two together and close them, and it's like a triangle now. And then take this bottom and join it together, and then go around and close all the sides. So you have your triangle spinach pie, turnover, whatever you call it. In Lebanon we call it Fatayer, and my oven is ready. In Lebanon we call it Fatayer. There is so many variation of Fatayer. Different provinces, they do differently. There is one with cheese and cheese with the spinach. After New Year I will be sharing a couple of different ones. My favorite is the cheese with onion and parsley, and yeah, after Christmas I will share some. But you're gonna just keep doing this, and as I said, the more your dough is rested, the easier it will open. So that one dip in that flour, that's all you need. Don't put too much flour, because that stiffens your dough. Again, we're gonna take a tablespoon of our filling. And just put water. Simba's being weird today, so I keep looking back to see what he's up to now. So once you have this closed as a triangle, bring this bottom middle together and then close the sides. Close the sides and reinforce the middle. There you go. So I'm gonna do one more, and then you'll get the idea. In Lebanon, the neighbors used to come all together when there was stuff like this going on. If there was Easter time, when there was cookies, they all came together and helped. Each day they do one neighbor, and they used to talk and have coffee at the same time, so they didn't feel like they're, you know, they're working. But here we can't do that. Okay. Just water. And I'm just dipping my finger in the water. There is not much water on my finger. Okay. It's like a little bundle. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing this, and then I'll be back to show you before I pop it in there. So my first tray is done, and now all I do is I take a little bit of oil, and I have here olive oil, but you can use any type of oil, and just brush very lightly. You can omit this, you can just pop it as it is in the oven, but this will give it a nice golden color. Because we're keeping this vegan and we're not doing egg wash on it, so I'm just doing olive oil. So I'm gonna pop this in my oven, and I'm gonna keep it in there for about 7-8 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it. The minute it turns brown, golden brown on the top, you take it out. Yeah, it doesn't take too long. And then we'll be back and show you what they look like. Okay, these just came out of the oven. It's piping hot. I wish you can smell it. It is hot. But I wanted to show you how beautiful these look, and it smells amazing. I'm gonna transfer it to a cooling rack, and then I'll come back and cut one open and show you. Okay, we're gonna try one. It's still hot, as you can see, the fumes, and look at that. This recipe for the 4 cups of flour, it made about 60 little mini pies. If you want to make them bigger, it's up to you. Go ahead. You don't have to make them this small, but this is nice if you have a party. And yeah, 60 pieces. Anyway, cheers. As good as my Aunt Rosie used to make. Anyway, I hope you guys give this a try, and if you like this video, please give me thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And don't stress, you guys. I know I should talk. Anyway, have a very Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.